Yeah, this image looks pretty weird, doesn't it? Now you know how I felt.
"50 Shades of Grey." I can't believe it. I watched it. I watched it. Okay, so 50 Shades of Grey is based off of the mega hit porno novel. It basically is about a young girl who's trying to just go about her life, and she runs into a rich guy who happens to be really into her and really into some weird things. And that's it. You know how movies usually have at least like a subplot going on, or like an end game, like there's something else going on other than the romance? No. This is just romance-ish and porn. So, Brazzers.com got their big feature film debut like I'm sure they've always wanted. It takes place in Seattle, of course. This started out actually as Twilight fan fiction and got a big screen experience. Yeah. First off, I will list you some positives. The positive is that it is filmed fairly well. Granted, everything else is bad. A lot of the lighting is really, really good, and the soundtrack is good. But you know what? No, the soundtrack is not good. Just because some sound guy got lazy and picked some really well-made pop songs does not make a good soundtrack. No, that is lazy. No, you are done, soundtrack guy. You're fired. I mean, yeah, if I had to do the composition for 50 Shades of Grey, why not make it like 70s porno soundtrack? It'd be so hilarious. It would at least be a comedic relief for us. Because, oh my god, nothing happens in this movie. It is literally a girl who is like, you know, I'm an innocent girl, and then there's this guy who's, I'm a ripoff of Bella. And then it goes from there. And congratulations, that is it. They make moon eyes at each other. They even replicate the beginning of Twilight, where it's like, we can't be together. Why? I want to be with you. That girl does so many lip motions. Oh my god, how many times in that movie she sits there and she can't act worth anything. And so she sits there and she goes, anytime she wants to. It is literally, the acting is terrible. They're just there, and it's like, act like this. Instead of like embodying the character, they sit there and they're playing a caricature of a Twilight character, of a caricature of a porno thing. It's like, pretend you're into him. Who does that in everyday life? Like, Mr. Grey walks up and just is like, I can tell that you want me because you're biting your lip. Oh, really? Is it that you can tell all these little complexions on her, or is it because she's sitting there going like this? How in the world do you make lengthy segments of erotic sex boring? Like, you would think that because we are human beings and we naturally like to mate, that we would find something like that appealing at all times. No, 50 Shades of Grey can teach us that. You sit there the entire time going, what? It's so unappealing looking, so boring, so dull. Nothing happens. It's not exciting. All you see, you see some boobs and you see some man butt, and if they could get any closer, you'd be seeing some a little more Christian Grey, you know, you'd be seeing some 50 Shades of hot dog. But other than that, there is nothing going on. This Game of Thrones is more graphic than 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm not complaining about that. It's just that when the movie has nothing to it other than sex, boring romantic drama, you know, Yeah, this is gonna be embarrassing, but you know how people say there's like better pacing in porn because they joke that like there's nothing and it's just like just skip to the sex. It's like, but you're in a movie. You are in a theatrical experience, not a porno. You cannot skip that stuff. So you're sitting there watching nothing you could give any less craps about, and you're watching it unfold on the screen with just as bad of acting. Tommy Wiseau's The Room is more compelling than 50 Shades of Grey, and the sex scenes are more believable and interesting because at least it's so freaking terrible that it's kind of funny. Yes, I actually enjoyed The Room more than 50 Shades of Grey most of the time because at least you cared about the characters because they were so fun, 2D, angled. On that note, you don't care about these characters. There is not one redeeming value of these characters. This is degrading to women. This is degrading to men. I mean, it's literally a dominatrix takes a good girl, and the good girl says, I'm not really comfortable with this. And he basically just sits there and goes, oh, well, that sucks. And she goes, okay, let's do it then. And you're just like, what? That is not how it works in real life. This good girl who's had good morals this entire life meets some rich dude and basically says, let's bang. Oh yeah, I'm a virgin. Where have you been all my life? Okay. So now she's like, well, I'm not comfortable with all the stuff you want. Well, I want you to be my sex slave. Why do you not want to do that? If you just tried it, you'd like it. Oh yes, because that works with every single woman on the planet. Hey, I really like you. Can you be my sex slave on weekends? Yeah, I'd really appreciate that. So just drop by around 7 and you can just usher your way out when I'm done. It's like, and she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm okay with that. And he's like, oh, well, I know you're okay with that. Then she goes like, oh. And then guess what? Boom, there they are. They're doing it in the most uninteresting, semi-pornographic fashion, and it's terrible. This movie is so long, and the ending is so terrible, there is nothing. I sat there and said, there's got to be a finale to the movie at some point. And then it just ends, and I'm like, wait, there was a beginning and a sort of middle, and there was no end. There was no, any basic film student knows. It goes rise, fall. There was, there was nothing, and you just sit there and you're checking your watch until it's over. I'm moving a lot because this is some BS. This is going to make a boatload of money and it's going to be like the next Hunger Games type franchise. When did we get to this point? Yeah, the Twilight Saga was like a fluke, that it was like, why is that being successful? And then all of a sudden now we have 50 Shades of Grey? I would rather watch the Twilight Saga, and that's saying something. Guys, gals, and everything in between, I have certified 50 Shades of Grey, not as 50 Shades of Grey, but 50 Shades of garbage. This is garbage to the umpteenth degree. I mean, there were some spots that were somewhat funny, and I will give it that. Some of it was a little bit well filmed, but it's not enough to justify it being on background noise or anything like that. This is a piece of garbage to the definition. There is nothing good about this movie other than like a few good shots. Ooh. So, guys, I really hope you don't go see this movie, but if you did, what did you think of 50 Shades of Grey? Yeah, so did you ever think that porn sites would get their live action debut? I sure didn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe, got plenty more videos coming to you. And hopefully a lot less with me strapped with belts like that beginning. Because yeah, I'd rather not repeat that. Belts don't taste very good. The girl from 50 Shades of Grey could tell you that too.